All right, and welcome everybody to the B&H virtual event space. Right now we have with us Jenny Alice, who's going to be talking about the age-old question, how to stay motivated as a freelance videographer. Especially now when the pandemic and lockdowns have a lot of creatives feeling a lack of motivation. Jenny, your tips and tricks on remaining creative and focused are definitely much needed. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. So with that, Jenny, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you. So hi, everyone. My name's Jenny. I am a freelance videographer, editor, and photographer. And I'm just going to go onto my slide now, just to introduce myself first. So basically, I've got over 8 years experience, including working with large marketing agencies. And as video content grew, so did my passion for it. My goals mainly are to educate and to inspire others. And the most important thing that I want you guys to get from this webinar is basically any tips or tricks on how to stay motivated as a freelancer. Before I get started, I am going to show you guys my show reel just so that you can get more of an idea of the kind of content that I create. This content was created during lockdown, so it is mainly more commercial side. However, I've got experience working in like music videos, interviews, property videos, and so on. But obviously with this particular show reel, it was more commercial based. So I'm just going to play that through now and see if that goes through. Hang on. You ain't seen nothing yet. Walk that way. Start that fire. Burn it down. You ain't seen nothing yet. I go harder. Let the sun feel me now. You ain't seen nothing yet. Always feels a bit bizarre when you're showing your show reel and everyone can see you. So basically I want to outline exactly what we'll be going through on this webinar before I get started. So there's a few topics that I want to kind of discuss first. So they're like downtime. It's okay to not be okay, to feel unmotivated. It's completely normal. How I set my goals, the importance of routine, which helps me a lot. And then how to optimize your time, how I find creativity through clarity, how I find my own inspiration, and then growing my social media accounts and how I adapted and how I attracted new business during the entire pandemic. So we will get started. Right. So first slide I just want to point out is lockdown. So anyone who's based in the UK, you'll know that we've been in lockdown on and off now for nearly a year. We're actually currently in our third lockdown at the moment, which means that all the gyms are shut, shops, most businesses have shut as well, which obviously has created a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress and worry for people. Being a freelancer myself, there hasn't been much support for self-employed people. But it's also been a great time where I've been able to see businesses adapt and grow during the pandemic. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I just want to kind of go through how I was able to grow my business through the pandemic and grow a client base. So we'll start with the first slide, which is downtime. Now, it's okay to have downtime, and every business is going to have downtime, whether we're in a pandemic or not. It's going to happen. As a freelancer myself, I do have waves of busy periods, and then I have waves which are a little bit slower. And it's completely normal. So I just want to first say, like, it's okay to have those times and not to beat yourself up about it and don't get flustered. It's very easy to think, oh, why have I done this? If your business maybe have slowed down and you start questioning yourself, or why are you doing this in the first place? When England went into their first lockdown, it was kind of like a mini holiday for a lot of us. It was middle of summer and we didn't realize how long it was going to go on for. So for the first 3 weeks, I mean, initially we did think it was going to be 3 weeks long. So I actually took that time off, and anyone who knows me knows that I don't take time off lightly. And it was the first time in a long time where I've actually just sunbathed and relaxed and had time to myself and recharged. And now as the weeks went on, I don't think I was the only person where I started realizing that maybe this was going to go on for a little bit longer than anticipated. So I started getting itchy feet, and I was thinking, right, how long is this going to go on for? I need to start adapting my business, and I need to think of ways that I can survive, to be honest. And, you know, downtime for me was a great time for me to update and upgrade my digital presence. Now, it might surprise a lot of you if I tell you guys that I didn't actually have a website before the pandemic. it was something that I knew I needed to get, and it was something that I knew was important for my business. But I just didn't want to pay someone to do it, to be honest, if I'm honest. And I just wanted to do it myself, but obviously I never had the time. So when the lockdown struck, I had a bit more extra time. I decided, right, this is the time for me to build my own website and get on with it. And anyone who's made a website will know how much content and planning goes into them, more than you actually think. But so I was able to use that time to build my website, which was great, and then also focus on my social media platforms, which again, I didn't focus much on at all before the lockdown. A lot of my marketing was done face-to-face, which obviously I couldn't do anymore because of the pandemic. So I used the time to start growing my social media accounts, so like Instagram, LinkedIn, and so on, and just creating content. And then next is brushing up on our skills. Now, anyone who owns their own business will know that you never know enough, and whether that be through your own skill set, or whether that's through mindset, or maybe you want to become like a better leader, or there's always new things to learn. And anyone who's in videography will know that they're always bringing out new tech, new equipment. You know, there's always new trends, new cameras. So it's always constantly progressing. So it's really important to not fall back on that and not get too relaxed. So there's always new things to learn. So something else that I did in my downtime was, you know, reading articles and blogs and watching YouTube videos on new trends and so on. And then, like I said earlier, networking and building your client base. So a lot of work for me stopped with the first pandemic. A lot of businesses were too scared. Everyone's kind of shut. No one did anything, to be honest, for the first month or so. And I basically had to start networking again and building up my client base. So in my downtime, I'd basically reach out to new clients and create social messages to them through their Instagram accounts and so on, which I wouldn't have had the time to constantly message businesses and to grow that connection. I also made sure that any clients I had before the lockdown, that I kept in touch with them, because obviously at the end of the day, the businesses are going to have to open up again in the future. So it's really important to keep that relationship with them, so that when business does pick up again, that they obviously know that you're still around and creating content for them. So that's that. So we'll move on to the next slide, which is, oh, it's okay. So basically, before I get into how to stay motivated, I just want to kind of hit on the point where, you know, it's okay to not be motivated. It's okay to have downtime, and it's okay to maybe not feel your best all the time. And I just want to remind you that we're all human, and anyone who has said that they don't feel, you know, they always feel 100% all the time is lying. Everyone has bad days. Everyone has good days. It's important not to beat yourself up about it, and it's important to not feel alone in it. I have days where I don't feel motivated, and this is why I'm making the webinar, because the things that I've picked up have really, really helped me. So hopefully by the end of this webinar, you'll have some ideas or maybe some inspiration on how you want to maybe progress in your freelance career or videography career, so on. So the first thing that I like to hit on the most is when I'm feeling unmotivated and I'm not sure what I want to do anymore, or maybe I'm questioning if freelance was the right thing for me to do. I go back to my basics and I think, what is my why? So like, what is the reason why I did it in the first place? What made me leave my full-time job to go freelance? What is it that motivates me every day to create? And I think it's really important for you to know your why, like your purpose, because when you have days where you feel a little bit like I don't want to do this anymore, and you look back on your why, it will make such a big difference. And you can just write it in your notes as a little reminder, anything like that. So for me, my why is that videography is my passion. It allows me to be creative, continually learn new techniques and connect with others. Through my work, I want to be able to have a positive impact and inspire others. And I just have that with me all the time. So if I'm having like, say, like an edit isn't going well or anything like that, if I just read that, it just reminds me why I'm doing this in the first place. And it really, really helps. So, I mean, surely you must know what your why is, but maybe just have a little think and really tune in on it and think, what is the reason that you're doing this? Okay, there's a picture of me. Okay, and then another really important thing, and I know you guys probably already know this, but it's routine. Now, I know with the pandemic, a lot of people's routines kind of went out the window. A lot of people are working from home. It's really hard to set boundaries. People are maybe sleeping a bit more than they normally do. So routine for me is something that really helped me. I felt my routine was slipping at one point. So the thing that I've done for the entire of the pandemic is have a routine. I get up at the same time every day. And I walk my dog, but I have certain times where I will reply to emails. I have certain amount of times where I'll edit. I have certain times where I will contact new clients. Like, I set a routine, so I know like every day what I'm doing. And I feel like for me personally, like, it's really helped my anxiety, because a lot of anxiety comes from uncertainty and not knowing. So having that routine is probably like one of the best things you can do. I also feel like focusing on what you can control as well. So, maybe you have lost a lot of clients, maybe you have lost your motivation, but you can still control your routine. You can still control when you wake up in the morning. And having a routine isn't just going to help you get work done, but it will also keep you focused, and help you have a more balanced, work life and personal life, and also improve your mental health, which is always a good thing. Okay. So something else I just really want to hit on is setting goals. So setting goals is a really great way to work towards, and working towards these goals will ignite ideas. So it's kind of like a snowball effect. You set these goals and then you start working on one, and then you'll get more ideas of other things that you want to do. So for me, like, as an example, so like website updates, marketing, content strategy, update paperwork. I mean, as a freelancer, we all have paperwork that we do need to update, that we might put off. So just looking at certain things that maybe, you are putting off and you really need to do. And once you start doing it, honestly, guys, the first step is just starting. It will really help your motivation. And also just embracing the fact that maybe things are quieter at the moment and you can get more things done and there'll be less distractions. So that's the first thing, is just setting goals. And one thing that I do like to do actually when I set goals is I do it weekly. So I'll have like, what do I really want to achieve by the end of the week? And then I break it down into 3 tasks a day. And they are the most important tasks that I need to get done. If we set every goal that we want to do, the list could be like this long, and it's very daunting, and it can make you not want to do anything. So what I do is I break it down. I have 3 things I want to do each day. And then once I've done them, if I get the other things done, great. But if not, they'll just roll on to the next day. So just picking the 3 most important things, prioritizing your work, and then just breaking everything down. And if you don't feel like doing 3 a day, just do 1. But honestly, just as long as you're getting one thing done, it's one step forward, one step closer to achieving your goals. I'll just have a drink of water. Okay. So treating yourself to small wins. As a freelancer, you are your own boss. So when you work for someone else and you do something well, or you achieve a certain goal or a milestone, your boss or your employer or everyone you work with are going to congratulate you and say, well done. As a freelancer, you don't have that. You literally are your own boss. So it's really important that when you do achieve something or a milestone, or say you land a new client, or you've just, I don't know, edited a video and they've finalized it off, anything, you need to reward yourself. Now, I know we're in a pandemic and we can't really go out and do much, but I reward myself by, ringing a friend, going for a walk, exercising, even having like a hot bath. And I know it sounds silly, but just congratulating yourself and being like, well done, you've done a great job, is really important. Because I've done it in the past where I've achieved something and I've been like, right, that's great, I'm going to go on to the next goal. And I just kind of brush it off like, okay, that's happened now. Next thing. And you look back and you think, God, I've achieved so much, but I haven't actually taken time off. I haven't said, well done, you're doing great. I've just constantly been looking for the next thing. So I guess in a sense as well, part of that is just being present and being like, wow, I'm doing great. I've achieved all these goals, and just treating yourself and being kind to yourself. Because if you're constantly looking for the next thing, you're just going to burn yourself out completely. Which is on to the next slide, which is avoiding burnout. So this is also something that I've experienced myself. So this is why I'm kind of trying to educate you guys on noticing the signs. So what helps me avoid burnout, and that is spreading my work out. So like I said earlier with the goals, like I'll look at what I want to achieve by the end of the week and I'll break it down so to smaller tasks in the week. Because if you look at the whole thing as a whole, it just becomes a really big task that doesn't look like you can achieve it. And if anything, when you've got so much to do, you end up doing nothing at all. So just spreading your work out, but not putting too much pressure on yourself. Remembering to take breaks. Anyone who has edited anything and not taken a break, you will know from experience that you rewatch it later on and it's crap. So like I have it where I will edit something and it won't be going to plan and I just can't leave it. I will sit on my desk and I'll be like, no, I can't take a break. I need to get this done. And then I look back and I think if only I'd taken 10 minutes or gone for a walk and had a break and reassessed it with some, you know, fresh pair of eyes, it would have been a lot quicker, the process, rather than trying to create something not in the right mindset. So that's really good, really important, sorry. And then also improving if the experience, the quality of work and mental health. So what I'm trying to say is your work is a reflection of how you feel as well. So I find when I go through, if I'm close to a burnout, if I'm working non-stop, not having any breaks, not having a weekend and so on, and especially if you're a freelancer, you are your own boss. So there's also this, the feeling of guilt where you aren't replying to an email when you know you can do, and also the sense that there's no one else that's going to do it. So like if you don't reply to the email, no one else is, it's down to you. So there is that part where it is hard to turn off. So from my own experience, so it's so important to switch off, and your quality of work will reflect that. There was one time where I was not taking a break at all. I was working 7 days a week, every single day, and I found that one day I was on set and I was just so tired and I couldn't concentrate. So it's just noticing the signs and being able to stop. So that's why I just want to say to you guys, like, it's really important just to take a break and not feel bad about it. At the end of the day, your quality of work will improve. Even your spelling on emails will be better if you have had a good night's sleep, trust me. Okay, so, and this one is something that's really close to my heart, which is finding creativity through clarity. At the beginning of the pandemic, I found that I was spending a lot more time on my phone because there was less to do. And it was also a way to stay connected to everyone. So, you know, you're FaceTiming your friends, you're emailing everyone, editing videos and so on. And I was not getting away from my phone. So I find that clarity can be hard to find in a world full of distractions. Like, we are constantly connected and influenced by endless streams of media and technology, and it can be sometimes overwhelming, and it can actually hinder your creativity when you're constantly scrolling on your phone. So the times where I find that I get the best ideas are from doing like mundane tasks, washing the dishes, having a shower. So that's something that I noticed a little bit more. The less time I was spending on my phone, the more ideas I was getting. So I now don't have any notifications on my phone at all. And I limit the amount of time I spend on my phone. I actually, when I go for walks or work out, I leave my phone at home, which always seems to shock people, but especially that I'm running my own business, but I don't feel like anything's going to really happen in 30 minutes by leaving your phone at home. You know, you can leave it at home. And sometimes people have this addiction where they literally can't put their phone down. And these days it's actually referred to scrolling your phone as like the new smoking, because we're so addicted to it, you know. So the addiction will kill your creativity. And also the way that I felt, if I sit on my phone for too long and I'm scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or whatever endlessly for a long time, I find that I feel very unmotivated afterwards. I feel quite down. And sometimes I have like anxiety and all sorts if I spend too much time on my phone. So I decided to have a break, and now I only spend like an hour or 2 hours on my phone a day. And that really shocks people, because obviously I'm very active on my Instagram, but I also don't have notifications on for it. So when I go on, I will look at it, that's great, and then I just go off and I go about my day. And I've had the most creative ideas from leaving my phone off. Some days I actually put it in a separate room when I'm in the office editing videos. I actually leave it downstairs just so that I can focus for like 3 or 4 hours editing, so I don't get distracted. So yeah, that's one of my biggest points actually, is literally just getting off your phone. Okay, so next one is being inspired by others. Obviously, it's being inspired by others is something as a creator I find really useful. You know, surrounding yourself with other creatives really does spark that, like, oh, maybe I should go and create something as well. Or if they're in lockdown and they're making something, maybe I should be able to create as well. So what helps me is podcasts, YouTube's behind the scenes, tutorial videos, videography websites. So like News Shooter, which is basically like all the new trends in video, all the new technology and things like that. And then also connecting with other videographers and creators, networking with other freelancers and joining groups. So when I say connecting with other videographers and creatives, like on Instagram, I get inspired by seeing what other creatives are doing. Like I said before, you know, in the middle of the pandemic, there was a part where I thought, oh God, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing here. And I saw other creatives going out and getting business. And I was like, well, if they can do it, you know, why can't I? And it did inspire me to keep going. And then networking with other freelancers. So like I said, you know, I'm finding motivation for videography as a freelancer, but as every other freelancer knows, it can be hard at times. Being a freelancer is a crazy job. There's, you know, busy times, like quieter times, you're your own boss. And I think it's really important as a freelancer to connect with other freelancers in any field, because we're all going through the same thing. We're all working for ourselves. We're all working through a pandemic. So it's really important just to speak to people that can relate to you and what you're going through. And then joining groups. So I'm actually at the moment I'm on a group called the Freelance Hair 100, which is based in the UK for the Northwest for freelance women. And it's basically just once a week, we all get together on a Zoom call and we talk about our challenges of the week, what we've succeeded in, and we go through different topics each week, which is a really great way to stay motivated because you can relate to them, you can build your network, and it's also a great outlet. So yeah, these are the things that really help me stay inspired. But I just want to hit on something next. So it's really important, guys, not to compare. So like I said, obviously I connect with other creators, other female videographers on Instagram and so forth. And it's really important not to get too hung up with the whole comparison game. I think it's healthy to compare to a point. There are other female videographers that are very successful, and I think, well, if they can do it, you know, isn't that so inspiring? And in a sense, you can't compare yourself to them because you're in the same field, you know, and it's a great way to think of yourself doing what they're doing. And for me, that's a great motivation. But it can turn quite toxic if you're thinking, why are they so successful and I'm not? Or why are they so far in their career and I'm not? You know, why are they getting clients and I'm not? And by doing that, you're just creating all these negative thoughts in your head, and it just becomes very toxic. So what I'm trying to say is everyone is on their own journey. Everyone is at different points in their lives. You'll notice that a lot of people that are very successful have been doing it a lot longer than you. And if not, then just connect with them, get some advice from them, what they're doing, and just learn as much as you can. But like I said, just don't compare. We're all on different journeys here, and as creatives we all have different styles, which is what's so great about it, and we all have different niches. Also with videography, like I said earlier, video content is so important now more than ever, especially for a pandemic. Like you've seen how much businesses are using video content. Even now with this webinar, you know, it's literally a video streamed, so you know there's enough video work for everyone. Okay, so this is I've kind of covered this a little bit already, but just staying connected. Obviously, like I've said before, we're in a pandemic, so it is a little bit harder to stay connected, but it is also very important. You don't want to put yourself in a bubble. As a freelancer, it is a solo job, and you, as much as you can do things on your own, I personally feel like you shouldn't shut yourself off from others. You should always stay connected to other creatives and stay connected online. It's really important to keep yourself motivated and inspired by others. So staying connected through social media, through creatives, and connect with brands and businesses. So I'm just going to move on to my own social media that I stay connected on. So I've just literally took a print screen from it. So yeah, this is me. So basically I was able to grow my Instagram account from around, I think, 1,000 followers to 12,000 in the space of about a month, which is pretty quick. But basically before lockdown, I didn't use it that much. I think I posted 4 times. I wasn't really interested in it, and I was busy kind of working, if I'm honest. I was doing a lot of face-to-face stuff, like face-to-face networking. I was knocking on doors to get business. So I was kind of just doing everything the old-fashioned way, not really focusing on social media at all. But then as the pandemic struck, I felt like a way for me to kind of document what I go through as a freelancer would be to post about it, and to post about the struggles that we all go through as a videographer, as running your own business. And I wanted to use a platform to inspire others and to let everyone know that everyone's going through this journey and everyone's experiencing things that maybe you think that you're experiencing on your own. But everyone goes through it. It's totally normal. And I just had fun with it. So I think the reason why I was able to grow it, if I'm honest, is probably just because the content that I make is literally how I'm experiencing life as a videographer, and maybe it connects with other videographers in that sense. I'm just going to show you some of the posts that I do post. So a lot of me. So I try and do a balance of like educational and inspirational content. So like you'll see there, like you've got the Panasonic S1H. That was kind of a review when I got it. So like, you know, do I prefer it over the Blackmagic Pocket Cam? And then the other ones are bringing up topics like being a female videographer in such a male-dominated industry, which is a topic which is becoming a lot more spoken about now. And then other ones are just ones to motivate people. I know on a Monday you may not feel as motivated as you want to be. And then just struggles that I've been through as a videographer and working for myself. So those are just some of the posts. And at first I was literally just doing it as an outlet for myself, because obviously I'm going through this journey as a freelancer and I wanted to kind of document how I felt. And through that, it seems to have gained quite an audience through it. So let me just do that one. You're moving the camera. All right, and then moving on to Reels, guys. Honestly, you need to start using Reels. Instagram's algorithm, from what I've seen, really prioritizes Reels. Maybe it's because it's trying to compete with TikTok, I don't know, but it seems like Reels are doing really well. The way that I got into making Reels was more just for fun, if I'm honest, because I never really saw myself making anything like this kind of content before. In lockdown, I'll be honest, I'd never actually watched TikTok before, like a lot of other people. And I got quite into it with the TikTok trends through lockdown. And I always watched them and I thought, what if we could make that more video related? Because I haven't seen that many film people on TikTok making like fun videos. So I just thought maybe with the trends, we could do something that other videographers can relate to. So like, does size matter was obviously quite a popular one. I mean, that got over like 600k views, so obviously a very interesting topic. And then the other one was like on the R5. Obviously everyone knew that one, you know, it was kind of like a PR problem with Canon, with the camera overheating so easily. And then tips for beginner videographers and things like that. They were honestly just for fun. I never really thought anyone was going to watch them, but maybe that's why it worked, was because there was no pressure and it was just organic and original. I don't know. But then I'll just move on to TikTok here as well. So it's just, I literally just post the same stuff on my TikTok and then onto Instagram. And I really think that just having something fun to watch, especially during the pandemic where everyone's morale is probably a little bit lower than normal, and sometimes just creating fun content that doesn't have to be like a blockbuster Hollywood film. I mean, we all can film that, but at the end of the day, you've also got to think about time management. And I am still working through the pandemic, and creating easy content on TikTok is a lot more fun for me and easy. So yeah, I mean, I guess I enjoy it. Yeah. And do you know what's really funny is I never thought that I would ever make TikTok videos. I enjoyed watching them, but I never envisioned that I would ever be making them. So that's interesting. But it seems like everyone's enjoying them, so that's good. And then the next one is to connect with other creators. So I've just put on here a few creators that I really like and I've connected with through Instagram. And I'm sure a lot of you know Emily, She Wolf Films, and then we've got Stephanie Magic, and then Shot by Alice, who is also UK based videographer. And I just love seeing these creators on my Instagram. They inspire me every day when I see their content, their posts, their inspirational messages. I can really relate to them. And I feel like if you have Instagram, you should find like a group of people that inspire you, because every time you open your phone, you're going to see it. It's going to be positive. It's going to remind you why you're doing what you're doing. And it's going to motivate you to also want to make content the same way that they are. Actually, with Emily, when one of my videos blew up, the Does Size Matter one, I got like 600k views. It was literally just for a little bit of fun. Obviously got a lot of comments about equipment and about me, and about how I look and all sorts. And I didn't, a lot of sexism, if I'm honest, but I didn't like some of the comments, and I felt a little bit disheartened from it, because obviously I was just making content for fun, and we all know how difficult it can be for a female in this industry in the first place. So online trolls, I guess if you're getting them, it means you're doing well to an extent, but it's still not the best thing in the world. So I actually reached out to Emily, and she replied. I'm not lying. She literally replied in like 5 minutes. She sent me a voice note, and it was so encouraging. And it was literally like, she experiences it as well. Like, we're both going through it, but she's not giving up, and she told me not to. And it was really motivating, because at the time I was thinking, oh God, I'm just gonna pack this in. I'm running a business, I'm a freelancer, I'm doing, you know, all this other stuff. I don't need to be reading all these negative comments as well. But once I spoke to Emily, it just gave me that next, like, okay, everyone's going through it, you know, everyone experiences bad things. I mean, anyone who's doing anything will get a negative comment about it. So, you know, you can't please everyone as much as you'd like to. You can't. So yeah, just connecting with other creators, guys. I can't say how important it is. Get into, you know, film groups, get into videography Facebook pages, connect with local videographers, get your name out there. It's competition over it's community over competition. At the end of the day, there's enough jobs for everyone. Just create a community of people that motivate and inspire you, and you will find yourself motivated already before you even do your routine and your to-do list. Okay, so, and also you guys should check them out. They're very good pages to be motivated by. This page looks a bit sad, doesn't it, really, when you look at the other ones? So connect with brands and businesses. So I do get asked how I do that, especially during a pandemic. And I used to do face-to-face networking. I like I said, I used to just knock on doors. But now I do it through LinkedIn, Instagram. I DM businesses and freelancers and whatever, and posts. I comment on posts, and I email people. And I also find that a lot of them come to me through LinkedIn and Instagram and emails, just by putting myself and my content out there. So it works both ways. You know, make sure people know that you're a freelancer. Make sure you're putting your content out there. Make sure you're updating your reel. Just make sure you let everyone know that you're working. Don't be shy about it. And I think that's a problem that a lot of us videographers have, is the marketing side, because we all like to create content, but then there's also, as a freelancer, you have to sell yourself and your business and your services, and you have to be confident within yourself. So just remember that, you know, you are more skilled than you realize, and, you know, send that email, you know, go for it. Okay, losing my voice. Okay, so thinking outside the box. And I think for me, thinking outside the box was TikTok. Like I said earlier, I never thought I was going to do it. It was something that I liked watching it. I liked being behind the camera. I never thought I would be in front of the camera doing TikTok. So you just got to kind of brainstorm, think outside the box. Like I said, in all the other posts, connect with other creators, brainstorm with them, brainstorm with family members, brainstorm with friends, and also maybe get into some freelance, I don't know if they have any near you, but like I know for me in England, in Liverpool, they have Women in Business, where I can go and find like a mentor there, and the Freelance Hair 100, which is also for female freelancers. So if you know, Google anywhere around your area and see if there's any support for freelancers, and see if there's any communities that you can join, and just like start talking and brainstorm, write down loads of ideas, and then you'll find something through that. Okay, just gotta drink more. Still battery. Okay, and adapting. So no business grew by staying the same, and that's with or without the pandemic. If you look at every business that's successful, they've all adapted and grew over time. You know, you look at Microsoft, Apple, all of them, they all look completely different to what they are now. If you look at the laptops, computers, and so forth, no one grew by staying the same, and that's personal. So that's personal development as well, and that's also business development. So an example of how I grew my business and adapted it through the pandemic was I started doing a lot of live streams for musicians. So similar to this webinar, like basically musicians wanted to perform, but we can't because of the pandemic. A lot of venues are shut at the moment. And for musicians' own mental health, they want to perform. It's part of their outlet, it's part of their creativity. So in order to help them, I would basically film them and live stream it through Facebook or YouTube. And that way they would be able to connect with their fans at home and kind of have like a sort of a gig experience at home, but more than they would have got if we didn't do it. And through doing that, I actually got a lot of business. So I did a lot of live streams at one point, and it was a really great income for me, and they became really fun. And I also felt VIP because I could experience, a live band playing behind the camera, but still felt pretty good. So maybe have a think about how you can adapt a little bit. Is there any live streaming events that you could maybe film? What about property videos? People can't go and view properties at the moment. Maybe you could do property videos, tutorials. There's a lot of businesses that maybe want to do tutorials that they can't do in person. They want to do them online. Webinars, there's a lot of things that you could look at. And that's back to the other point, it's brainstorming. So literally just write down a load of ideas and then, see which ones could potentially work for your business. Okay, so come back stronger. So life is going to go back to normal at some point, and you want to be ready for when that time happens. You want to come back stronger. You want to have all your paperwork sorted out. You want to have a reel ready. You want to have your website, your social media going. You want to have a potential client list. So really use this time to do things that maybe you put off. And then, once it gets busy again, which it will happen, you're going to be ready for that. Grow your skills. That's it. Yeah. And keep being amazing. I'm coming to the end now, guys. Can you tell? My voice is going. Right. Oh, God. Right. Thank you. Oh, and also my Instagram handle is @jennyelsfilms.com. @jennyelsfilms, my website, so jennyelsfilms.com. And that's it. Whew. So I'm just going to see if Danny's there.
Awesome, Jenny. Thank you so much.
Hi.
That was really awesome. I think you're gonna have to start a career as a motivational speaker, because that got me fired up.
Oh.
Something you said really resonated. I think you said it best. Everyone's on their own journey, and you can look to other creatives to inspire and motivate you, but comparing yourself to others is absolutely not productive. And I think that's something really important for people to really know and hear. So
yeah,
thank you for saying that. We do have a few questions coming in, so I want to jump over to those. So we have a viewer on Facebook asking, how do I know when to start charging people?
When to start charging people?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that depends. Like, have they filmed that type of content before? So I mean, there's sort of the whole like free to fee kind of thing where they could maybe film something for free to get a show reel. But I would say, don't be afraid to charge. You've got your skill set and your equipment. I think too many of us are too afraid to say, this is how much it's going to charge. And sometimes when it comes to money, especially as freelancers, and because it's a creative job, it's maybe something that we enjoy doing as well. It can be difficult to say, no, this is charged work. But I mean, if you've done like a few for free, I would definitely be charging after at least like one or two. Yeah.
And I think that kind of goes into a little, I'm sure there's a bunch of people who are just starting out, or even in the middle of their careers, who suffer from a bit of like imposter syndrome, like the feeling of, I haven't had this kind of job yet, or I don't have this piece of gear yet, so I'm not truly a videographer, photographer. I can't charge the rate that I deserve. Can you speak a little bit about like how to combat that?
So for me, I gave discounts to a few of my first clients, and then once they were happy with the work, I went up to my full rates. I would just say the more you talk about money, the less of a scary topic it is. I would work out your day rate and then work out, how long it's going to take. Also, maybe work out how much money you want to earn in a year. break it down with holidays and so forth, and how much you need to live off to how much you need to charge people. You know, at the end of the day, you need to live, so you can't do everything for free.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely. And staying on the topic of money, Albert, who's joining us on Facebook, is asking, were you able to charge a decent rate for live streaming bands, or did they try to pay you in pizza and exposure points?
Yeah, no, exposure's a tricky one, to be honest. I mean, I'm not a big fan of exposure. When people say they'll pay me in exposure, I find sometimes it's a little bit insulting, to be honest. I mean, I just give them the rate, and if they want it, then they can do it. If not, then they can try and find someone else to do it. But at the end of the day, if you want a live stream to run smoothly, you need to pay someone who knows how to do it. Otherwise, you know, it's not going to happen. So I would just be, what's the word, unapologetic. Just say, this is my rate, and maybe give them a little discount for the first time. And then after the first stream goes successful, say, right, I've given you a discount, and if you want to do 2 more, these are the rates for these. So
yeah, and I think people a lot of times they take advantage of that also, and
yeah,
it comes down to, I think, confidence in yourself.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely get a show reel, so that, you know, you've got something to show to new potential clients. But also the type of work that you film is the type of clients you're going to attract. So you want to, if you're going to do it for free, you want to do, you know, a high quality restaurant, or you want to do, you know, a high quality property, or a really good, you know, interview. You don't want to just do something for free, which might be okay, because then you're going to get okay clients that probably won't, you know, have the biggest budget.
Yeah, for sure. And Steve on Zoom is asking, which social media platforms have proved the most successful in gaining business?
I'd say it's probably LinkedIn and Instagram. I actually have been approached by a few brands, which I never thought even looked at my Instagram account, but I was tagging them in a lot of the posts with the equipment I was filming on. So I would also recommend, when you're, you know, filming, tagging the equipment that you're using, because I never thought that they would look, but they do. Brands check it. So when you're working with particular equipment, tag the brands in it, because they'll see it. And also LinkedIn's probably better for corporate video content. I do get probably larger business from LinkedIn than I do on Instagram, but I still get a lot of business from Instagram as well. So it's good to kind of maybe just pick 2 social media accounts that you really want to focus on, which is what I've done, which is LinkedIn and Instagram. And then try not to spread yourself too thinly on the other ones, you know?
Awesome. Now, Jen is asking, did networking help you make a start as a freelancer? How did you take the jump from your full-time job? And when did you know you were ready?
I don't think we're ever totally ready to be a freelancer, if I'm honest. I think running your own business is a massive shock to the system. There's a lot of things that you do that you didn't think you'd have to do. And as a videographer, in the ideal world, I would love to just film and edit all the time and not have to do any admin, if I'm honest. But it's part of the business. And to be honest, I've kind of learned to enjoy it. But I think for me, leaving my job, I just kind of had this gut feeling that it was the right thing to do. It probably wasn't the right time, but if I hadn't have left then, I'd probably still be there now. So there's never a really good time. You're always going to find an excuse why you want to stay. There's always going to be like a birthday around the corner, or maybe, I don't know, Christmas. You know, there's always going to be something that will make you think, oh, maybe I should stay a bit longer. There is never a right time. So sometimes you just got to take the leap. And yeah. And was there networking as well? So when I first went freelance, I just went to a lot of networking events, took my business cards, and just jumped in the deep end and introduced myself at networking events. Very scary. I don't actually like public speaking, so I was stood in front of loads of people in suits, explaining my business. But then I realized that there were other networking events which were more suited to my kind of clients that really weren't in suits. So it's kind of also finding the right networking event for you and for your business and your brand. So yeah, just networking, LinkedIn, emailing, and just not worrying too much if people say no, because people are always going to say no. It's part of business. After a while, you just kind of get used to, you know, businesses saying they can't afford it, or maybe another time, or it's not the right time yet.
Now, how did you find your niche of videography that you do? Like for somebody who's just getting started in the industry, like what process did you go through to find what speaks to you as, your business?
Yeah, I think this is a really good one. And to be honest, I say this to everyone, you've just got to try it all out. I know it sounds so bad, but you've literally just got to try out and see what you enjoy the most. So, you might really enjoy weddings. If you haven't shot a wedding, how are you going to know? So you need to do like everything. I've shot like property, music, interviews, weddings, everything under the sun. And through doing that, there's certain shoots that you will enjoy more. For me, I really enjoy commercial. That's something that I enjoy, promotional videos and things like that. So, but at the same time, for me, I also kind of like to mix up every now and again because it can get a little bit the same sometimes.
Awesome. And Tomer is asking, what kind of equipment do you use?
It kind of depends on the client and what they want me to use. So the budget. So that's a good question. The Panasonic S1H is one of my favorite go-to cameras at the moment. And the Sony FX9 is like my favorite as well. But it also depends on the client, what I would use to film.
Yeah, for sure. Albert is asking, did you ever run into copyright problems live streaming bans? Did you ever get muted or dropped by the streaming service?
No, no, it's never happened. I think it's because it was own music, maybe. It was fine. Yeah, no problem with that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of questions about people asking about your experiences shooting weddings. Can you speak a little bit about that?
My experience shooting weddings.
Yeah.
I would say take 2 cameras, take a backup camera, batteries. I would say it's a long day. And also speak to the bride and know exactly what they want. There's a lot of different styles of wedding videographers out there. And if you shoot to what you think is the right wedding, I would speak to the bride and see what type of video does she want. Shoot with the client in mind. Don't just shoot because you think, oh, this will look good. Also, at a wedding, I would also say it's really important to ask them if there's anything that they want you to film, any particular things like the dad or a bit of jewelry. Is there anything that they need to be in the video beforehand? I would take snacks, energy drinks, because it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, for sure. I've done weddings also, and it's definitely a long day. Now, another gear question. Jen is asking, how much do you hire out kit for shoots? Do you think it's better to hire than own it all?
It really depends, really massively, on what you're shooting. And I already own my own equipment, so I'll use that. And if the client wants like a particular camera and they have the budget for it, then I will rent it for them.
Awesome.
And but one thing though is always I would just own like the basics first and then rent out anything extra that you need.
Perfect. And going back to I guess like creativity with the topic of this talk is, do you ever if you're stuck in a rut, do you ever work on personal projects to get your creative juices flowing? If so, where do you find inspiration for that?
So one thing that really helps me actually was going to the gym, which I can't do at the moment. So I walk a lot with my dog. And he is amazing. So we go and run around fields for hours. And then I'm quite creative in other things. So if I feel really stressed, I'll paint. It's so random, but I'll just paint, or I'll do yoga, or just honestly, just going for a walk really helps sometimes just to clear your mind. So
awesome. We also have a question on Facebook from Sally. Do you ever hire helpers?
I mean, yeah, it just depends on the project and how many people we're having on set and what the budget is and if we need anyone else. I mean, it honestly just depends on the project and what we're shooting.
Yeah, for sure. And are you working on like multiple projects at once? Do you prefer to like spread your projects out or work on a bunch of things at once, or should you always be looking for the next job?
It's kind of a bit of everything, really. I mean, we'll have different projects going on at the same time. But then I'm also always looking for the next one. So that's the beauty of being a freelancer, is you are responsible for obviously getting your jobs in. So I try and have like a month in advance booked out. So then, you know, I've always got work coming in. Yeah. Just have to keep on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're feeling like you're really, you know, kind of stuck in a rut, is it better to kind of like force yourself out and take jobs that you wouldn't normally be interested, just to like get out there and get started? Or do you kind of like usually hold out for the jobs that really speak to you or interest you?
That's a really good point. It's a bit of both, really. Sometimes if you're in a rut and you feel really unmotivated and there's like a job going, it is good to get out the house and to kind of get the creative juices flowing. Sometimes the perfect jobs, you have to go out and you have to do the little jobs to get the big jobs, you know? So I wouldn't turn down a particular job if I really didn't want to do it. I'd probably do it if it was okay, but I wouldn't. I'm trying to think of a good answer for this. Sometimes you just need to get out there. Sometimes if you sit in your house for too long and you haven't created it in a certain amount of time, you just need to take a job, get out there, meet people, start filming. And once you do it, you'll feel motivated, honestly. Just don't be too picky, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's great advice. We have another question here from somebody viewing on Zoom. She says, I'm a small framed female. Carrying and setting up all of the equipment can be difficult. Do you ever feel intimidated?
I have had comments off people before not expecting me to be able to pick up certain equipment, you know, and I think that if anything, that motivates me more. I do go to the gym a lot, and to be honest, at first equipment can feel heavy, I'm not gonna lie, but you've just got to keep going for it. And the more you pick up the equipment, honestly, I know it sounds so cheesy, but the lighter it gets. Like there's certain cameras that I used to struggle with, but I would still film with, but it would hurt, that I pick up now and they're fine. So it's more like building the muscles, because there's certain, like, especially with gimbals and so forth, I've always been going to the gym, but I found that when I first used certain gimbals, that it was using different muscles that I hadn't maybe used before. But then after a few weeks of using it, honestly, like I remember I used a Rowan S and I thought that was heavy, and then I'm using other ones and I'm thinking, God, the Rowan S is so light. It's honestly so light. So it's just using it, and the more you use it, the more your body will get used to it. Honestly, it's fine.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, it looks like we covered all the questions that came in. Oh, we have another one snuck in here. Jen asks, when it comes to skills like graphics, would you outsource rather than spend a lot of your time learning it more specifically? Do you find it's easier and worth your time?
I know how to use like Photoshop and everything else. I used to work in marketing, so I'm quite lucky in the fact that I actually know how to use like Photoshop and Illustrator and stuff like that. Quite a lot of the Adobe I can use most of the software, so I'm quite good at doing all that myself. I mean, if it was a massive project, maybe, but so far most of the stuff I do, I do it myself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jenny, that was a ton of great information. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for spending your time here with us today and giving, you know, your thoughts on this. I think everything you said is going to be very useful for everyone to hear. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. Honestly, it's been a pleasure, and it was really nice of you guys to reach out, and it's honestly been really fun.
Awesome. Well, and thank you to all you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time at the B&H Virtual Event Space.